In Genesis 3, it says that the serpent was more clever, more sly than any beast that God had created. The enemy is calculated about his attacks. That's why when Eve was in the garden, he came as a snake. He knew that if he was a snake to get through the garden, she wouldn't be able to see him. They wouldn't be able to catch him. They wouldn't be able to prepare for his attack. And that's what the enemy wants. He wants you to be so off guard, so far away from God, so far from his presence and his wisdom that he is able to attack you and be able to take you from your destiny, take you from your mission, and take you down the wrong road. That's why sometimes he's so calculated with his deceit that sometimes his lies seem like it makes sense. Sometimes his lies sound like the truth. And if you are further away from the truth, you may believe him. You may believe them. That's why sometimes it feels like it's easier to believe the lies of the enemy, because he is calculated with how he attacks. That's why God wants you to get in his presence, because he's not more calculated and smart than God. God will give you the wisdom to be able to defeat the enemy. He will give you the wisdom to be able to defeat the problems in your life. He will give you the wisdom so you can be prepared of any attack that the enemy tries to throw your way. That you would have been in that garden, you would have seen the snake coming, because you were already prepared with God's wisdom. You were already prepared with the truth. And the truth always outweighs the lies. That's why it's important to be vigilant, because the enemy, he will slip in wherever he can. Whenever you're vulnerable, whenever you're weak, whenever your guard is down, that's when he'll start to slip in. That's why it's important that we keep the armor of God on us, that we stay in the presence of God so we can be able to fight and be able to defeat the enemy and his tactics. Because he wants to win. He wants to win over your life. He wants to win over your soul. He wants to win whatever he can win. His goal is to steal, kill, and destroy. And he will do anything. Anything. That's why he knows your weaknesses. Because he's clever. He knows your weaknesses. He knows what's going to get you, what's going to tempt you, what's going to get you riled up. That's why you got to be prepared for the enemy. That's why God said put the whole armor of God on. Because God already know you're going to be attacked. God already know you're going to be tempted. But as long as you are covered by God, you are protected. You're protected. But it's important that we keep our guard up at all times. All times. Because he's waiting to see who he can devour. He's waiting to see who he can just tempt. So it'll change your whole trajectory of your life. When he tempted Eve in that garden, when he tempted them in that garden, it changed her life and it changed generations to come. That's why it was a lot of destruction that came after it. Because when you give in to the enemy and you open that door, it's like you give him permission to come into your life and wreak havoc. When you open that door to the enemy and you give him access, it's like you're saying, have your way with me. It's almost like you're surrendering to the enemy. And you don't even realize it. That's why your soul feels, your spirit is like it be crying out. Because it's feeling the sorrow of you allowing the enemy to rule over your life. And your soul is trying to speak to you and warn you and tell you that you're going down the wrong direction. You're going down the wrong path. You're giving in to the wrong idol. And the enemy does not care about you. He doesn't care about you. When he tempted Eve in the garden, he tried to make it sound good. Oh, look at the tree. It looks good. No, he tries to make it seem like something is good. So you could go over there and be tempted in it. And it ends up destroying your life. It ends up leading you down the path of destruction. That's why it's important for us to be obedient in what God told us to do, because being obedient is our protection. And sometimes it's hard. It's hard because you have that serpent in your ear. You have that serpent trying to test you and tempt you. You got to keep your armor on and be prepared for the attacks so you can be able to endure them. That's why you have to continue working on your relationship with God and building that intimate relationship. Because God is the type, he'll give you the wisdom to be able to defeat the enemy, because he'll start opening your eyes to the enemy's tactics. So when he opens your eyes to the enemy tactics, you're already prepared. You already know, oh, enemy, you hit me with this before. This happened last time and it made me upset. So I'm going to learn this time and not give in to the enemy, not give in to my anger through the enemy, because he's trying the same tricks. Sometimes the enemy going to try the same tricks because it works every time. If he can do the same thing to get you riled up, if he can do the same thing to tempt you to sin, then he don't even have to be crafty with you. It's easy to get you off the path. It's easy to get you to be disobedient. It's easy to pull you out of the will of God. That's what the enemy wants. You're easy. We got to open our eyes and we got to be vigilant. Be vigilant. Be vigilant. It's important. It's important. So y'all have a blessed and positive day, Chosen Champs. I love you guys. Remember, it's important to build your relationship with God, because you need to be prepared for the attacks of the enemy. You need to be prepared when he's trying to attack your finances and trying to attack your family and trying to attack whatever he can attack to get you out of the will of God. I love you, Chosen Champs. Peace.